Political sociology, that is state, nation and society. When we talk about the political sociology has basically emerged as a branch of sociology because there have been always some interrelationship between different social sciences. Any subject can be understood completely only until the different viewpoints of other sciences are understood. Not only social activities are conducted within the society, but also political, economic, cultural, literary, art, medical, educational and religious activities. This is the reason that other subjects were also studied by sociology from a sociological point of view, and sub-branches related to all these emerged, such as sociology of gender, political sociology, sociology of literature, sociology of family, sociology of kinship, sociology of sociology, sociology of religion, sociology of economic, etc., etc. Over the past few years, there has been greater emphasis on interdisciplinary approaches in the social sciences. The emergence of political sociology is also a result of this approach. ये जो नई ब्रांच पॉलिटिकल सोशियोलॉजी राजनीतिक समाजशास्त्र विकसित हुआ, वो राजनीति शास्त्र और समाजशास्त्र दोनों का सुंदर समन्वय है, जिसमें एक तरफ हम राजनीतिक गतिविधियों का अध्ययन करते हैं तो दूसरी ओर समाजशास्त्र का सामाजिक परिप्रेक्ष्य में राजनीतिक गतिविधियों का विश्लेषण करते हैं. व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट पॉलिटिकल प्रोसेसेस इन सोसाइटी, वी सर्टेनली मीन पॉलिटिकल सोशियोलॉजी. Political sociology is that branch of sociology in which it is seen what are the reasons for the distribution of power and what are the consequences of this division. हम जानते हैं कि समाज में बिना पावर के सामाजिक संरचना स्थिर नहीं रह सकती. It is an essential component of society and that component is known as power. In short, we can say that political sociology studies political processes. When there is a division of power in society, this division can never happen without some conflict. Max Weber, Karl Marx, etc. created an ideal model of dominance. He says that in any situation of dominance, there must be power. For this, power is necessary to have legitimacy, and when power gets legitimacy, then there is a struggle for it. Thus, theoretically we can say that the distribution of power is never equal and conflict for unequal distribution is inevitable. जहाँ भी सत्ता का असमान वितरण होगा, वहाँ पर संघर्ष अपरिहार्य है, निश्चित है. When we want to study the subject matter of political sociology, then state, nation and local power are the main subjects of political sociology. While discussing politics in modern times, we generally talk of the state, the nation and society. In this context of Western European experience, the terms are somewhat conterminous, equal, that is, we termed both all the three are equal to each other. It is therefore essential that we first define these three terms, that is state, nation and society. The first term is state. Meaning and definition of state. There is no universally accepted definition of state. Each scholar defines the state according to his own views about its origin and purpose. Aristotle defined the state as an association of families and villages, the end of which is an ideal and self-sufficient life, which means a happy and honorable life. That is known as state. Similarly, the Roman thinker Cicero defines the state as an innumerable society united by a common sense of rights and mutual participation in benefits. According to the French writer Jean Bodin, the state is an association of families and their common properties governed by a supreme power and reason. These definitions suffer from serious flaws. First, no state can be self-reliant. Secondly, a complete life cannot be the end of any state. And third, it is impossible that all the citizens of a state can be united by a common sense of rights. Hence, in place of this traditional definition, we discuss about the modern definitions. Holland has defined the state as an innumerable assemblage of human beings generally occupying a definite territory, among whom the will of a majority or a definite class of persons prevails by the strength of such majority or class against any, the number of those who oppose it prevails. Philemores defines the state as a people permanently occupying a definite territory, bound by common laws, habits and customs into one body politics by means of an organized government within its limit, to exercise independent sovereignty and control over all persons and things, capable of making war and peace and of international relations with the communities of the world. State has three important components. One is population, second is boundary, and third is sovereignty. On the basis of all the above definitions, we can clarify the elements of the state. These definitions draw attention to the fact that there are four essential elements of the state, that is population, territory, government and sovereignty. First, definite population is there, definite territory, geographical territory is there, government is there, and then sovereignty, that is internal and external relations can be established through sovereignty. On the basis of all the four elements, we can say that the state is a political association which is characterized by territorial jurisdiction, a more or less non-voluntary membership, a set of rules which define the rights of its members by way of a constitution, and claims to legitimacy of power over its member. अर्थात किसी भी राज्य या देश के लिए आवश्यक है कि वहाँ निश्चित जनसंख्या हो, उसकी अपनी एक जोग्राफिकल टेरिटरी हो यानी बाउंड्री हो, उसमें एक सरकार हो जो कि नियम बनाती हो और उसको लागू करती, जिसके पास पावर हो, और चौथा सॉवर्जिनिटी। ये चारों जहाँ पर होंगी हम कहेंगे यह एक स्टेट है। इसी तरह से द सेकंड इम्पॉर्टेंट कंसेप्ट इज नेशन। द टर्म रेफर्स टू ए ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल who have developed solidarity based on common identity of culture, religion, language, state, etc. The national identity of any group that defines itself as such can be based on any number of criteria such as place of residence, ethnic origin, culture, religion and language. Initially, the two words nation and nationality were used in a similar sense, but Gilchrist says that nation is state plus nationality. But some writers use the word nation in its original etymological ethnic sense, the English equivalent to which is nationality. Burgess defined a nation as a population of one ethnic unity living in an area of geographical unity. But J. W. Garner believes that the bonds that make a people a nation are not necessarily ethnic and linguistic, although these are undoubtedly the most. हम जानते हैं कि किसी भी देश में एक ही भाषा नहीं, एक ही धर्म नहीं, एक ही तरह के लोग नहीं, चाहे उनकी कल्चर एक नहीं। इसलिए कई बार हम ये कहते हैं कि एक ही भाषा हो, एक ही धर्म हो, एक जैसी आइडेंटिटी हो, वो अपने आप में सही नहीं। दिस इज़ नॉट राइट description of a nation. Thus, the Swiss people constitute one nation, but they are not of the same race, nor do they have a common language. Similarly, India is a nation, although it is not united by identity of origin, race or language. The third important concept after nation is society. Man is a social animal who cannot live without society. Society and social life are its nature. From this point of view, human society is as old as humans themselves. Society is studied in various social sciences, but the approach is not the same in all the sciences. In political science, a group of individuals is also called society. In economics, society means a group of people doing economic activities, whereas in anthropology, only primitive communities are called society. अलग अलग विषयों में समाज की अलग अलग तरह से व्याख्या की गई है, पर समाज शास्त्र में समाज को अलग तरह से परिभाषित किया गया है. Whereas in sociology, society has been explained in a specific sense. Here the meaning of the word society is taken from the system of social relationship between a group of individuals. From sociological point of view, the network of social relationship is called society. There are many types of relationships found between individuals. It is these relations that create society. जब हम समाज में संबंधों की बात करते हैं तो आर्थिक संबंध, धार्मिक संबंध, राजनीतिक संबंध, शैक्षणिक संबंध इत्यादि. पर मैकाइवर और पेज अपनी पुस्तक समाज में जब समाज की व्याख्या करते हैं, परिभाषित करते हैं, तो वो कहते हैं कि सामाजिक संबंधों के जाल को ही हम समाज कहते हैं. वाइल क्लैरिफाइंग द मीनिंग ऑफ सोसाइटी, मैकाइवर एंड पेज हैव सेड दैट society is a system of usages and procedures of authority and mutual aid, of many groupings and divisions, of control, of human behavior and of liberties. The ever changing complex system we call society, it is a web of social relationship and is always changing. समाज में सामाजिक संबंध निरंतर बदलते रहते हैं. Society is a web or network of social relationship. Society is the broadest category of social organization that includes a large number of social institutions such as marriage, family, kinship, economy and politics. In this sense, the term society refers to the social relations that are interconnected. In interacting with each other, people from social relationship that become institutionalized, and as a relational concept involves the study of social institutions in society. हम समाज में सामाजिक व्यवस्थाओं का, सामाजिक संस्थाओं का अध्ययन करते हैं. Like social sciences, sometimes in colloquial speech, society is used as a group of individuals. Many times a group of people are given a society on the basis of caste, like Rajput society, Brahman society, Jain society, etc. Similarly, society is also explained by associating a group of people with religion, like Hindu society, Muslim society, Christian society, etc. Sometimes society is also explained with a specific place, like Rajasthani society, Gujarati society, Marathi society, etc. इस तरह से समाज व्यक्तियों का एक संगठन है. बोलचाल की भाषा में हम कहते हैं समाज सामाजिक संबंधों का जाल नहीं बल्कि व्यक्तियों का एक संगठन है. दैट इज कलेक्शन ऑफ ह्यूमन बींग्स इज नोन एज सोसाइटी. चाहे समाज हो, चाहे देश हो, चाहे राज्य हो, इन सब के लिए पावर बहुत इसेंशियल है. द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट एलिमेंट टू ऑर्गेनाइज ए स्टेट, nation or society, power is essential. Now we discuss what power is, because power is maintaining the structure of society, that may be a nation or that may be a state. So local power structure, when we compare the power of influencing people with the currents of the ocean, which from time to time keep the water in the form of rural and urban groups of people rotating in one or the other direction. This power lies in the leadership or in the group of people who have the power. They hold power and use their powerful influence to direct people. These powers operate under the influence of small groups or in other forms. Power is sometimes exercised formally by an individual or group who control society and is instrumental in decisions making. The pattern and form of influence can be any, but it is definitely found in every society. हर समाज में सत्ता का होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. अगर सत्ता नहीं होगी तो समाज की संरचना टूट जाएगी, विघटित हो जाएगी. Hence, to maintain the structure of whole society, power is essential. The pattern of influence in society can be seen in terms of overall power structure and leadership. Defining power, Horton and Hunt's write, the ability to control the actions of other is called power. Max Weber also explains power in the same way. Generally, we call power the ability of a person or many people to impose their will on others or fulfill its even when other opposed it. Many types of power is prevailing in society. Power exists in many forms in society. Its main four forms are elite, organized power, power of unorganized people, and power of law. One is elite. There is a group of people in the society who hold power because of their wealth, ability to work and influence, or because of their high positions. जब समाज में बहुत सारे लोगों के पास ताकत होती है अपने पैसे की, काम करने की एबिलिटी की, they are known as the elite of the society and they have the power. Second is organized power. There are some organizations in the society which have the support and acceptance of the public, and these organizations exercise their power. For example, students, lawyers, doctors, teachers, farmers and industrialists have significant power and influence in the society. These people use communications, newspapers, radio, television, etc. to demonstrate their power. Different organizations exercise power based on their numbers. If they have more number, they have more power. Power of unorganized masses. Power lies even in unorganized people, although it is used only occasionally. People express their power by voting and by cooperation or non-cooperation in any work. And the fourth is law. Law is legal form of power which receives the consent of the people of the society. It is representative of organized and formal structure. Law controls people's behavior, defines people's rights and responsibilities and punishes those who disobey the rules. हर राष्ट्र में कानून जो लिखित में है वो अपने आप में बहुत पावरफुल है, उसके पास बहुत सत्ता है, शक्ति है और वह लोगों के स्वतंत्र व्यवहार को नियंत्रित करने की ताकत, दैट इज नोन एज द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल और लीगल पावर. It is clear from the above entire discussions that in every society and community there are some people who are influential and powerful. They play an important role in collective decision making. Power holders and groups are interrelated and create the power structure in society. They use their power formally and informally. हर समाज में औपचारिक या अनौपचारिक सत्ता का कोई न कोई रूप होता है जो समाज की संरचना को या राष्ट्र की संरचना को बनाए रखने में बहुत आवश्यक है. नेचर ऑफ ट्रेडिशनल पावर स्ट्रक्चर इन इंडिया. जब हम बात करते हैं पावर की तो परंपरागत समाज में, दैट इज इन ट्रेडिशनल सोसाइटी, द फॉर्म्स ऑफ पावर इज इन डिफरेंट शेप, while in modern society the power is in the different shape. Yogendra Singh has described three main bases of power structure in the traditional Indian village, that is Jamindari system, Gram Panchayat and caste panchayat. On the other hand, the zamindari system was representative of the material and economic interest and aspirations of the people of the community, while on the other hand, village panchayats and caste panchayats were symbol of the social characteristics of rural politics. परंपरागत समाज में तीन महत्वपूर्ण सत्ता के रूप थे। एक जमींदारी, जमींदारी में वे लोग जिनके पास जमीन की मालिकी, दे आर द लैंडलॉर्ड ऑफ द लैंड, दे हैव द पावर इन रूरल कम्युनिटी. Similarly, caste panchayat is one of the important factors in traditional society that hold the power in the society. And third is village panchayat, that is gram panchayat. The first is zamindari system and power structure. The relationship between the zamindari system and the power structure of the village was closely related to rights in property and land. Henry Mann believes that patriarchal families were prevalent in ancient times. The head of the family did agriculture work along with his members, and collective rights on land existed for the first time. Baden-Powell is of the opinion that as a result of species movement, the basis of land ownership also kept changing. Before the Aryans, the Rayatwadi system was prevalent, which is still found in South India. The Aryans started the practice of village collective ownership of land. He says that ownership of land arises in two ways. Firstly, the persons who work on the land and makes it cultivable has the right over it. Secondly, the right to land arises due to conquest. In North India, the right to land was obtained due to a Gotra conquering the land, or due to the king giving land, or due to expansion of land by the Gotras. On the basis of ownership of land, two types of villages are seen in North India. First is villages with a talukadari or zamindari system, and secondly village with joint zamindari system. The second important part that hold the power in the society, that is the village panchayat. The village panchayat and power structure. The organization of gram panchayat was of different types in different villages according to the zamindari system. In the villages of Punjab and South India, there used to be a panchayat whose rights and member were almost certain. There were lambarders of different sections of gram panchayat, contractors of talukadars, senior persons of different caste panchayat, watchmen, etc. While the zamindari system divided villages into various bulks and strips, it was also the broad basis of rural power structure. These village panchayats were responsible for maintaining law and order in the village, hearing appeals against caste panchayat and hearing complaints from bulk landowners. In theory, the gram panchayat held the supreme position in the rural power structure, but in actual practice their dominance fluctuated between factions of wholesale landowners, and this comprehensive institution rarely ever exercised its power successfully. Second important जो समाज में सत्ता रखने वाला संगठन था वह था ग्राम पंचायत के साथ साथ जाति पंचायत. तो ग्राम पंचायत एक निश्चित लोगों का संगठन था जिनके पास उस गांव की लोगों द्वारा दी गई सत्ता होती थी और उसी का वो उपयोग करते हुए उस गांव की संरचना को बनाए रखने में वो अपना योगदान करते थे. तो तीसरा इंपॉर्टेंट जो पावर स्ट्रक्चर का अंग है दैट इज नोन एज कास्ट पंचायत. कास्ट पंचायत वर एन इम्पॉर्टेंट सोर्स ऑफ पावर थ्रू आउट इंडियन विलेजेस. द कास्ट पंचायत इटसेल्फ प्रोवाइडेड सिक्योरिटी टू द कास्ट सिस्टम. द वेरियस रोल्स ऑफ कास्ट पंचायत attracted the attention of many scholars like Blatt, Risley, Mathai, Altetkar, Mukherjee and Malviya, etc. With the establishment of the judicial system of the British state, many functions of the caste panchayats also ended. The main officers of the caste panchayats were, that is the head of the caste panchayat, that is Panch, member of the executive, the panchayat, Charidar and constable, and they are known as messengers, etc., all of which were hereditary in the lower and middle caste. The influence of these caste panchayat was not limited to one village but extended to 10 to 20 villages. Caste panchayat used to perform many functions like deciding the rules of food, deciding the areas and rules of marriage, punishing those who violate the rules and protecting the prestige and securities and interest of the caste from opposing caste and group etc. गांव में जाति पंचायत भी एक महत्वपूर्ण संघ था जो कि गांव की संरचना को बनाए रखने के लिए अपनी सत्ता का उपयोग करता था और ये आवश्यक नहीं कि एक ही गांव में एक जाति पंचायत, तो कई बार आसपास के सारे गांवों का मिलाकर एक जाति पंचायत का संगठन होता था जो उन सभी गांवों के लोगों के व्यवहारों को नियंत्रित करने और उन नियमों को उन लोगों पर लागू करने की एक व्यवस्था थी। परंपरागत समाज में तो ग्रामीण पंचायत, जमींदारी व्यवस्था या जाति पंचायत जैसी संगठन थे, पर आज बदल गया है रूप। आज गांव में ग्रामीण पंचायत कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रोविजन के थ्रू इलेक्शन के माध्यम से सत्ता का हस्तांतरण होता है। इसी तरह लीडरशिप वन ऑफ द इम्पॉर्टेंट एलिमेंट्स ऑफ मॉडर्न सोसाइटी दैट होल्ड द पावर in the society. The new pattern of power after India gained independence in 1947, the most important step taken by the Indian government was that it abolished the zamindari system. In its place, the new panchayat system was implemented. These panchayat system gave rise to the new power structure of the village. The 1948 law initiated many revolutionary ideas and trends. Through this law, every youth was given the rights to vote and elections were held by show of hands. For the first time, women were given the rights to actively participate in village activities. Written records of the proceedings of the village panchayat started being kept and it was linked to the entire justice system of the state and the revenue of the administration. In this way, for the first time, the village officials were theoretically and legally separated from economic status and caste. परंपरागत समाज में कई बार जाति के द्वारा ही पंचायत का गठन होता था, लेकिन 1948 के बाद एक नया सिस्टम आया और उसमें इलेक्शन के माध्यम से पंचायत के गठन को मूर्त रूप दिया गया। Nature of politics in independence India. When we got independence from British rule, as a result of the independence movement, the condition of India was very pathetic. In such a situation, the biggest problem before us was nation building, so that India could develop a modern nation state. After independence, some definite steps were taken in this direction at the political level and some at the economic level. These steps can be explained as follows. Strategy in political level. After independence, the main political organization that carried out nation building activities in India was the Indian National Congress Party. This political party included workers from different castes, religions, sect, classes etc. of the society. While there were some people who had completely opposite political ideologies in this matter, there were some people who swore by Marxism and other who wanted a Hindu Rashtra and other who wanted to promote Islamic nationalism. But they all agreed that nation building was an important as political freedom. Therefore, all the main thrust of his political activities was to bring together as many diverse groups as possible so that the development of the nation could be possible. This same theme is visible even today in the politics of India after independence. भारत की आज़ादी के बाद राष्ट्र निर्माण की सबसे प्रमुख मांग थी और सब लोगों ने मिलकर कहा कि जब भारत आज़ाद हुआ है तो हमको राष्ट्र निर्माण को बनाए रखने के लिए अपना धर्म, अपनी जाति और अपने सारे विचारधाराओं को छोड़कर सबको एकजुट होकर राष्ट्र में एकीकरण की भावना को, दैट इज नेशनल इंटीग्रेशन इज इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर इंडिया. फॉर दिस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज इम्पॉर्टेंट part of independent India. The first attempt at nation building is visible in our constitution. The Constitution of India adopted in 1950 is a written constitution which is a comprehensive document It provides the foundation or design of government. The Constitution of India inter alia set out the fundamental duties of Indian citizens through the creation of a nation state. Our constitution not only provides fundamental rights to the citizen, but also directs the state to provide essential economic, social and political benefits to the citizen. The credit for this goes to the leader of the early stage of India's independence, who were sensitive to the potential disruption in Indian politics. Socialist pattern to overcome the inequalities in the society and to provide equal rights to all, the nation adopted the socialist pattern, which was another effort to Indian politics towards nation building. This also helped in controlling various tendencies to include greater section of population by providing special privileges to the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other backward classes and religious minorities. ये सारी सुविधाएं इसलिए दी गई ताकि राष्ट्र में सब लोग मिलजुल कर काम करें और राष्ट्र निर्माण के लिए वे अपना अपना योगदान दें. द सेकंड मेजर स्टेप टेकन बाय द पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स इन इंडिया आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस वाज द इकोनॉमिक रिवाइवल ऑफ द कंट्री. क्योंकि उस समय हमारी आर्थिक स्थिति बहुत ही दयनीय हो गई थी, इसलिए हमको आर्थिक क्षेत्र में आत्मनिर्भर बनना था और इसलिए पंचवर्षीय योजनाओं को 1950 के बाद प्रारंभ किया गया. देयरफॉर इट वाज नेसेसरी एंड इनएविटेबल दैट आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस definite steps were taken to reform the economy. The creation of 5-year plans to regulate economic activities was one such step. For this purpose, the government of India established the planning commissions and started 5-year plans for the development of independent India. उन पंचवर्षीय योजनाओं के माध्यम से हमने धीरे धीरे राष्ट्र के विकास को गति दी, जिससे कि राष्ट्र निर्माण के मार्ग में जो बाधाएं आ रही थी उन बाधाओं को दूर करने में पंचवर्षीय योजनाओं का बहुत बड़ा रोल उन्होंने प्ले किया. तो एक तरफ संविधान बना, हमारे पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स ने सबको बराबर का अधिकार दिया, सबको नीति निर्देशक तत्वों के द्वारा राज्य को अधिकार दिया कि अपने राज्य में लोगों की सुविधाएं उपलब्ध करवाने के लिए कदम उठाएं, और इसी तरह से पंचवर्षीय योजनाओं के माध्यम से आर्थिक क्षेत्र में मजबूती के लिए भी हमने प्रयास किया. वी कैन समराइज, वी कैन से दैट व्हेनेवर वी टॉक अबाउट पॉलिटिक्स, द 3 important concepts of society, country and nation are associated with it. Society is a network of social relations, but colloquially it is also defined as an organization of individuals. The people living in the society reside in a certain geographical area which we call a state. But its society, state or country, if its structure is to be maintained, then it requires power. Without power, the structure will break and the country will also disintegrate. When we talk about power, power existed in the traditional society is in informal form, in the form of jamidari system or in the form of caste panchayat, but during the period of change, this informal power transformed into formal power. Today, gram panchayat or leadership has become the main organ of power. If it does it works smoothly, then the structure of the nation will remain intact and the nation will continue to move forward on the path of development. इसलिए आवश्यकता है आज सत्ता की, आवश्यकता है शक्ति की, और शक्ति का जो रूप है वो हमें ग्राम पंचायत के रूप में या लीडरशिप के रूप में देखने को मिलता है, जो राष्ट्र निर्माण के लिए, that is for national integration, this power is essential to maintain the structure of society, to maintain the structure of state or to maintain the structure of the nation.